Good morning. How are you? Cheers. For those of us who are joining live, I'm going to give you a minute to get situated and join in the conversation. For those who are catching this replay, hey, pour yourself another cup of coffee while we wait to get started. It's all good. You can just take some nice, fun, deep breaths. The dog across the street's having a growly morning. How's your Wednesday? As you join the conversation, whether you're catching us live or catching the replay, as you log on to start watching, just give a quick hello in the comments, or you could post an emoji of what would describe you today. What's the emoji that would best encapsulate you on this Wednesday morning, if that's when you're watching, or in whatever moment you catch this video in? What's the one emoji that would be you today? I'm trying to think of what mine would be. I think after the 10-year anniversary gathering that we had last night in my community, my emoji today would be the hug emoji. The hug emoji would encapsulate me today, because I got to hug so many incredible people last night, and it was so good. Hey, Ange. And yeah, that would be it. So post the emoji that encapsulates how you feel today, or maybe how you want the day to go if there's not an emoji that captures that emotion. Whatever that looks like for you and feels like for you, let's do that and connect in, and hopefully you have an amazing start to your Wednesday. Today is a really special day on so many fronts. Today is the summer solstice. This is the first official day of summer, which can feel so exciting, especially for kids, I think, waiting for the last day of school to come. But I think what's very cool is there's an energy about today in the solstice that allows you to just, I'm hoping, feel a little happier and feel a little brighter, because it is the day with the longest amount of sunshine. It's considered the longest day of the year with the most sun as we transition from spring. Although I don't know if you live in Alberta, I'm not sure we had spring this year. We kind of went from winter to summer, but officially summer beginning today. And so it's always kind of a cool, magical day. So it's an opportunity to get out in nature, to support the incredible boost that you'll get from being outside or in nature or something. I would encourage that on this beautiful summer solstice. And today is also National Indigenous Peoples Day. And so it's a day to have recognition. It's a day to reflect. It's a day to support our Indigenous friends. And I know June is a month where it's National Indigenous History Month, so you have an opportunity to educate yourself and learn more all over the place. But today being National Indigenous Peoples Day, it gives you the opportunity to maybe step into a place of learning, a place of knowledge, finding out something new, supporting an Indigenous community in some way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like for you, whatever you're called for that. And I think that it's an interesting day. Oh, hi, Mom. My mom's on holidays. Good morning, Cheryl. And so, with it being National Indigenous Peoples Day, I came across a campaign that I wasn't aware of before that I did a little research on this morning that I wanted to talk about and share just for a moment. It could be your opportunity to learn something, support a cause that supports Indigenous communities, and that's called the Moose Hide Campaign. And this campaign originally started in the Indigenous communities in British Columbia in Canada. And many of you know or have heard of the Highway of Tears. And this campaign was originally started kind of grassroots through the Indigenous communities to bring awareness about violence against women and children. And so the campaign, when it first started, was originally geared towards men in those communities and bringing awareness and support to women and children. And hopefully in the efforts, obviously, to stop all of the violence and all of the pieces that were happening against women and children in that community. And since then, this is probably, I think when I read, it was about 10 years ago. And since this campaign has now evolved to being a nationwide campaign. And what you can get is you can get a moose hide pin. And they use moose hide, in case you were wondering, because I'm going to look up the thing. In many Indigenous cultures on Turtle Island, moose hide was considered medicine. So they really view these little pieces of moose hide pins that are being shared across the nation as like medicine for a societal ailment. And so it gives us an opportunity to come together for our Indigenous communities, to learn more and to help support this program. And they say that for every pin that you wear, it ignites 5 conversations. So I thought that was kind of, I don't know, it's an interesting campaign. It's cool. I've learned a lot about this movement and more. And so if you're on Facebook, I have linked to the website, which is just moosehidecampaign.ca. And it gives you an opportunity to show your allyship of our Indigenous communities. It gives you an opportunity to educate yourself, to have better conversation. It shows your support of wanting to end gender-based violence in those communities, and also just is symbolistic to, wanting to be part of the solution to undo the effects of residential schools and all that our Indigenous communities have gone through. And so by wearing this pin, um, sometimes I think we feel like there's not a lot that we can do, or you don't know where to start, or you don't know how to have a conversation like that. And so I really found this campaign to be something that was easy to understand and digest, being a non-Indigenous Canadian, and how I could better support that. So it's just one of several ideas that you could tap into for National Indigenous Peoples Day today. Does that make sense? Or I'm like, head out to, if you have, what I also love is supporting Indigenous based companies. So if you know of Indigenous based companies in your community, going out and supporting that company today, or visiting other areas of land. I know that for me, I love to shop at the barn on Siksika, which is just east of Calgary, and supporting Lisa and her family and their business. That's another great way to support Indigenous communities. That's where I got this beautiful mug. Thank you, Crystal. How are you? Jackie's watching from Scotland today. I miss you so much. I hope you are well. Betty, oh, good morning, Betty. It is so good to have you join us. Fauna, good morning. So excited you're here. Kevin, good morning, my friend. So anyway, that's what I wanted to kind of touch on today, was this Moose Hide campaign. So moosehidecampaign.ca is where you can learn some more. If you know of other initiatives, campaigns, great places to shop, please also share that in the comments so that we can support Indigenous communities together today and always. I think when it comes to when there's an awareness campaign for a month or a day or a week or, the point, the process is creating the awareness in the conversation. What we need to do as humans with loving hearts in the world is to go in and create action from that. And whatever that looks like, whatever you're called to, whatever feels the most aligned with what's on your heart and what you would like to do. And so, as I've shared on previous coffee clubs, it is so much on my heart to continue to evolve, to learn, to work on my ignorance, to increase the strength of my allyship in all communities, but especially this one. This one is especially close to my heart. So, what else is on your mind today? National Indigenous Peoples Day we talked about. It's summer solstice today we talked about. I want to take just a split second to say thank you to my community. Yesterday was, it was kind of a roller coaster of a day. So yesterday was the day of the 10th anniversary of the big flood that happened in my community, which was considered, they say, one of the top 3 natural disasters in North America. And it was a day that I know had mixed emotions for a lot of people. And my friend Fauna and I, who we chatted on Monday on Coffee Club and shared that we just wanted to create a space for community to gather. And I found this quote yesterday that I just loved. And it really I read it first thing yesterday morning, and it encapsulated the feeling that I was really having yesterday. The quote is, "Rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion." And that was done by Bell Hooks. And I really just felt that that was the vibe yesterday, knowing full well it was dampened for people to come out because it rained the entire time and it was cold. We could see our breath, but many of us still gathered in the park. We lit a fire. We sat in circle and stood in circle and shared stories. And I think sometimes there's a large consensus when something happens that people just want to forget and they want to leave it in the past and they want to just move on, which 100%, we all need to be forward moving people to continue in our healing journey. But every once in a while, we just need to stand in the space of the thing, the place, the element where we bonded from. And I think that sharing that and healing that and gathering with people for that was a way in that healing. And I think that's also extremely symbolic to National Indigenous Peoples Day today also, is because our Indigenous communities went through extreme tragedy and trauma together. And so the healing part for that community also involves us in coming together to share the stories, to hold the space, and to heal and move forward. So I think that happens on a lot of different levels. And so last night I appreciate so much that people came out in the rain and the cold, bundled in layers, and we were able to have an opportunity to share and to hug, right? Fauna and I both had said on Monday, we really just can't wait for the hugs that will happen. And so we had hugs and we shared stories, and we all walked up to the river and had a moment to just recognize all that we had come through. And we honored those that we had lost, as we had people who had lost their life during that time frame. And that's really difficult in community. But then we were able to also take a moment to share and celebrate how much our lives have grown, have changed, have evolved in that 10-year period, and all of the good things that have come into our lives following that touch point. So yeah, it was really cool. And so I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to those who came. An extra special thank you to Matt and Cassie, who showed up with a stack of pizzas for everybody, which was so fun. And yeah, everybody who was there, it was just, we were so appreciative. And I know that there was a lot going on. There was a protest element happening in our community, which part of me wants to go on a bit of a rant today about, but I'm not sure I will. And there was celebrations happening at the high school and a lot of moving parts. And I know for a lot of people, it was also just a tough, a tough day, or a day where you didn't want to step into those pieces, and that's okay. But I just appreciate the opportunity to have gathered together and recognize those 10 years. There was people who had come who, like Matt and Cassie, for example, 10 years ago, they weren't a married couple, kicking it in the real estate world. Caitlin and Spencer didn't have the two beautiful daughters that they have now. Like, lots of the cool things have evolved in that time frame, and I think it's kind of cool. My son was a part of it, who was only 4 at the time, and sitting there as a teen, hearing the stories and the sharing from community was so special for both of us. So it was a day. I had an opportunity to share some stories with a producer from CBC who is doing some research on High River, and sharing the stories of the resilience and the strength and the coolness of the community over this past 10 years. So that was a really great experience for me to be a part of also. So I'm appreciative. Thank you, CBC, for allowing me to share some of that insight with you about our community. And yeah, cheers. Anybody got anything they want to share today? What you're doing for summer solstice? What you're headed out to be a part of today? Yeah, I think I shared the link to that. Again, check out moosehidecampaign.ca. I thought it was a really great initiative to start conversation. Yeah, Angie shares, I love how accessible downtown is now. Yeah, there's lots of good. And I think that anything in life, right? Whatever we grieve, whatever we process, whatever we go through, there are always moments to hang on to and capture the good. And you might be in a space today where maybe you're going through a grieving process or healing some past trauma or whatever that looks like for you, and you're not quite in the space to hang on to the good. I want to encourage you to keep going, because you're going to find the good. And I alluded to, how do I want to say this? I alluded to a moment of a bit of a protest that was happening in my community last night in regards to support and non-support of the 2S LGBTQA plus community. Just going through, make sure I got all the letters there, as I'm learning also as an ally. And all I'm going to say to that today is that there are 2 places where we can come from. Only 2. We can come from a place of fear, and we can come from a place of love. You can't live in a fear space if you're loving. You can't live in a love space if you're fearing. And all I would wish to, because I think it's difficult when we have opposition with people and we have value alignment issues with people, it's hard to still love those people through it. And so what I was really feeling when I was reflecting about that this morning is that I send out the sentiment and the vibes of love to those who are living and coming from the space of fear, because it is a fear that is driving you towards your hate. It drives you towards your non-inclusivity. It drives you towards not just allowing people to be in the space of their own. And so for those that are in that fear space, I send you love. And I hope that you will get into the space where you can come from a place of love. And ultimately, for those of us who are in the place of love, who are looking at the people in the space of fear and just not knowing how to acknowledge that space is just remembering it's coming from a place of fear. And fear drives a lot of emotions that can be so negative. And yeah, I still, as I shared last week, my heart still breaks that that's a reality of where we as humans put so much energy. I I wish that the people who were in that fear space were as passionate about making sure that all people in Canada, all our Indigenous beautiful friends had access to clean drinking water. There's something to get fired up about. There's something to protest about. There's a reason to get angry about the injustices of the world when we have people in Canada who don't have access to clean drinking water. That to me is a great reason. But I don't live in that same fear space as these other people. And I understand where they're coming from, how how much that fears them, how much that fear drives them. And I get it. I get it. Don't agree with it, but I get it. And I just send love. All we can do is send love. And yeah, just reminding people to try to learn, to be open-minded to learn. Learning doesn't mean you have to change your values. Learning doesn't have to mean you change your view. But learning allows you to coexist in a world with people who are different than you. Yeah, Kelly, I agree with you. Because it's interesting when you have something that's a choice. What Why are you protest? Like, just don't go. Don't be a part of that. So thank you, Kelly, for sharing that. Yeah, just don't be a part of the things that you don't want to be a part of. I mean, there's people who do marathons. I don't I don't like marathon. I don't want to be a marathon runner. I accept that they want to give their time and their efforts and their love to marathons. Um, but I'm not going to. But I'm not going to protest their marathon. They can do their thing. They can do their thing, and I can do my thing, and we can coexist in this world. And yeah, I will still always believe and dream and hope for a world where our coexistence can be done more peacefully. And we'll send love out today. Anything else going on your mind? What do you have planned for this weekend? June is always such a crazy month with all of the things happening with end of school and end of year and end of sports and so on and crazy. There is going to be some great community fun. If you're in Southern Alberta, I would love you to come out to the community of Arrowwood. It is east of High River, and they put on a really awesome community weekend. They have a parade, they have their rodeo all weekend long, they have a big 4-H event on Saturday, and just an opportunity to really support the future stars of our agriculture and Western world, as well as the rodeo world. And they have so much fun in their community. And it's a real hoot to come and be a part of if you've never gone before. Sometimes the smallest of communities have the most fun community weekends. And so a big shout out to all of the organizers and the Arrowwood Ag Society for what they have planned for this weekend. We are really looking forward to we're really looking forward to celebrating with you this weekend and sharing in all of that community fun. And we've done some pretty wild things out there. I remember one year, well, there was a couple of years where we've had um, different kind of like miniature air shows happen. And one year, the pilot even landed his plane on the highway right beside the rodeo grounds. And it was always just so much fun. Kevin, have an amazing day. Oh, yes, it's also Guy Wiedek Rodeo in High River this weekend, too. So be sure to check out some of the fun with that rodeo weekend if you're in the High River area. Yeah, always fun. There's lots of great things to do and be a part of. And I hope you will check it out and share. Feel free wherever you are at, even if you're not in the same community as I, wherever you're at, post what's happening in your community this weekend in the comments, because we get people checking in on the videos from all over the place. So we could share what's happening. Like, I don't know if Jackie's still with us, but like, what's happening in Scotland this weekend? That's what I want to know. Yeah, that's today. Friends, I hope you have an amazing summer solstice, an amazing Wednesday, a great opportunity. I would just again love to encourage you to find something to learn today for National Indigenous Peoples Day and just continue to spread that love in the world, my friends. We never really know, and we talked about this a bit last night with the group that we were connecting with, is the ripple effect of different things that we do, the ripple effect that we have in community, and the impact that we will maybe even never know that happens from that ripple effect. Crystal says there's Busker Fest in Okotoks this weekend. Ooh, now that's a very cool way to support some incredibly talented people. So be sure to check that out in Okotoks this weekend. I think it will be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, keep posting even after we go off the air. And for those who are catching this video on the replay, join the conversation, share the things in the comments. Have an incredible rest of your week. And we will see you back here on Monday morning at 9:30 Mountain Standard Time. So cheers. Have an incredible rest of your day. And we will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.